What's going on? It's tuned in. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to turn you up a little bit more. Excellent. So, basically, today I wanted to talk about Celsius, and this is the energy drink that has been getting the most attention recently, particularly because of how sweet it is, how it has zero sugar, and has a lot of caffeine, tastes amazing, seems to be trendy, and seems to be working. So I wanted to do a deeper dive on, is this actually healthy? Is this actually something you should consider? What are the pros and cons? So let's get right into it. So we're going to look at three different articles today. We're going to talk about this Yoga Journal article, this other product review, and then lastly, a deep dive on sucralose, which is the sweetener that allows Celsius to call their product sugar free, even though it's, technically, yeah, but we'll dive into that in a second. So let's just start here. And this gives you a nice overview on what's in the Celsius drink, which is basically a lot of good things like seed extracts, ginger root, vitamins B and C, and chromium, etc., etc. So that it's packed with a lot of electrolytes. It's packed with good vitamins. So all that is great, and it says 0 calories. So when there's 0 calories, there's probably something up. And here, if we actually look into this product review, you can go ahead and figure out that it doesn't have aspartame, which is great, but it has sucralose. So sucralose, we'll jump over here, is essentially a 0 calorie artificial sweetener. Even though technically, I think you could spin this as not an artificial flavoring, because they say there's no additive artificial flavors. So, no artificial flavoring, yet we know that it has sucralose. So, they might have extracted this naturally. I'm not really sure how it works, but we do know that there's sucralose in it, and sucralose has its own problems. So, let's look at some of these problems. The number one that's really mentioned is gut health, and this is done in an animal study. So it's not 100% confirmed, but basically they did a study on rats, and it really hurt um, their anaerobes in their gut. So basically had a bad effect on their gut. So if you're experiencing some, gut issues, digestive issues, this may not be the best drink for you. But that being said, it's a better option than something like aspartame. The other caveat for Celsius is caffeine. It has 200 milligrams of caffeine, so it's a nice kickstart. Um, However, one thing I will mention is that uh, a cup of coffee is typically around 100 to 150, so it's a bit more. So it might raise your baseline uh, caffeine tolerance in terms of what would actually wake you up and energize you. And another thing to keep in mind is that the FDA recommends 400 milligrams a day, but also less for people with anxiety. But in today's society, a lot of people experience anxiety. I think it's around like 30% of adults, which is a pretty high number. So that is something to consider because, I remember when I had Celsius the first time, it really jolted me up pretty quickly. But besides that, honestly, these are really the only two drawbacks. The only other drawback I would say is price. It's pretty expensive. It's like $3 a can if you buy individually near me. That's in New York, so it might be cheaper elsewhere. And obviously, if you buy it by the pack, it'll be cheaper. But coffee, you're looking at 30 to 50 cents a cup if you make it at home versus Celsius, where you're probably looking at best under $2 a can. I don't even know if you can get there. So yeah, I'd say those are the three biggest drawbacks which is sucralose, high caffeine, which really isn't a negative. It's more of a negative if you just make that your baseline and increase your intolerance or increase your tolerance, and the price. But besides those things, I think it tastes delicious. My favorite flavor is the apple one. It's so good. And yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I really like it. For me personally, I wouldn't want to start every day with it. maybe if I have an early flight, I'll definitely have a Celsius to, make sure I'm alert, make sure I don't forget anything, I get to the airport on time, etc. But in terms of how often I'd want it, I probably wouldn't have it more than once a week, 1 to 2 times a week. So just keep all those things in mind next time you open your Celsius. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, have a great day.